Gail and welcome back to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com. Well, I've had a few requests for different recipes, and Vicki, you're going to get your recipe today. And she was requesting for a low-carb chocolate pie. I had to play around a little bit with this, but I think I've got the perfect pie for you and everybody else. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our almond flour, and I have 1.5 cups of almond flour, and I love using Kirkland's almond flour. And if you go to my pantry on my blog, you're going to find that you can buy it there if you're having to order something online. Now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of powdered erythritol. Make sure you powder it. It works a lot better if you have it powdered. Even though you're baking it, I still like to powder my erythritol. As soon as I buy it, put it in my Ninja, and I grind it all up. Now we're going to add in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm using Himalayan salt. I'm using my glove here because I'm going to get in there and mix everything up when we start putting the liquids in. So now I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of melted butter, and that's about 55 grams. I see that some people are making comments on my channels that I could be confusing you when I'm using grams and cups and stuff. And honestly, I have a scale that sometimes my recipes, it's highly recommended that you actually measure them in grams or mils or whatever, so that you have the right amount. Because sometimes people pack stuff in your cups or 1/4 cups and you're putting too much in, and it can wreck the recipe. So that's why I do put grams on certain things. So I'm hoping that this will help by adding both. Now I have 1 egg that I beat it up a little bit, and we're going to put the mixture in here. And I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla that we'll put in, and we'll just mix everything up. And this is going to be our crust, and it'll be sticky. It's the same recipe I used when I made my lemon meringue pie, and I'll tell you, if you haven't tried it and you love lemon, it's delicious. I've had a lot of good comments about it, but it's definitely a keeper. It's very lemony. You can cut back on the lemony if you'd like, but it's delicious, just delicious. Okay, so now I'm going to get let this sit for a few minutes, and then I'm going to get my pie plate, and then I'm just going to press it all in because it's too sticky to roll it. Okay, so now we're going to put our dough into the pie plate. It's a 9-inch pie plate. Now, what I find works pretty good is I like to use my parchment paper and help press it into the pie plate, because it is sticky, like I said, and you want to get it all moved around. It's a little noisy, but I'll keep working at this, and then you'll see the results when I'm finished. But you can see you got the gist of what you need to do to get it into the pie plate. So I've got it basically all pressed in, and I just take a little bit of water in a dish, and I'm taking my 2 fingers on each hand, and I'm just kind of lifting it up and doing a little pinch on the side. And I'm using the water just so it doesn't stick to my fingers. You can see it's a little thicker here, but I can press it down after. And it takes a few minutes to do this. It's not done in 2 seconds, that's for sure. But the pie crust is delicious. And you're going to really enjoy this. And you can use this pie crust for all your pies. It's just a really nice recipe. Okay, now since I've got that done, I'm going to, oops, sorry, I dropped my measuring spoon. Just going to double check to make sure I've got it the way I want it to be. The parchment paper works wonderfully. I highly recommend using it. So we're going to turn the oven on, preheat at 350. And so my pie crust has been in the oven for 14 minutes and it's getting nice and brown on the edges, but I'm not satisfied with the center and I don't want my edges to get too brown. So I am just going to put the foil around the top to stop it from getting any darker. And then I'm going to put it back in the oven for a couple more minutes and I'm just going to keep checking because I want this center to be a little bit more baked. So you have to play around with this a little bit, but you got the gist of it. And I'm just going to put it back in the oven. So I got my saucepan out and now we're going to start putting stuff together. So the first thing we're going to put is my erythritol, 1.5 cups, which is around 300 grams. So we're going to put in 1.5 cups. And now we are going to put in our xanthan gum. Now, we might have to add a little bit more after, but this is the amount that it worked last time when I did this, so pray that it's going to work good this time. And I put in, it works out to be about a tablespoon. I weighed it, and it was 6 milligrams. So I'm trying to hopefully do this so that you get the measurements in cups, teaspoons, in grams. The ones that I think that you need to weigh, I let you know also. Now, the next thing we're going to add in is I've got my Himalayan salt, and that is 1/4 teaspoon. There's other salts you can use, but I bought a lot of Himalayan, and it's got good mineral in it, and that's what I like to use. So now I'm going to add in my almond bries. This is the one I'm using, unsweetened almond bries. And I am putting in 2 cups and 2/3. 2 cups and 2/3. Just kind of stir this around. Now if you do it gradually like this, I think you're going to have an amazing pudding. Get this all dissolved in here, and that's why I powder my erythritol, so that I have everything dissolved and it'll just turn out beautifully. Alright, now we're going to add in 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and I use the 35%. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add in is 5 egg yolks. And don't throw away your egg whites. You can make macaroons. There's so many things you can do with it. In fact, what my husband does, lots of times when I have leftover stuff like that, he will crack up a couple of eggs and throw all the egg whites in with it and make a scrambled egg or whatever. All right, now we are going to put this on the stove. So I'm just going to, I've got it on low heat, and I'm just going to keep stirring it till I get it nice and thick, and then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. And this takes a little bit of time, but just be patient because it's really worth it in the long run. I am adding 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder to my mixture. So I'm down to the end. It does make a mess on your stove, so just take your time because the chocolate's so fine and it's very powdery, and it's just a slow process, but it is worth it in the long run. And it does take a bit to do this, so I'll keep working on this. So I still have it on medium heat. I really don't want it boiling or anything like that. And now we're going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Get my spatula here. Just stir this in a little bit. And then I've got 10 tablespoons of butter. And that's almost a cup, but it's not a cup. So and so I've softened the butter. It's almost melted. Get it stirred around a little bit here. And we're going to put in the butter. Okay, so now what I've got is I've got some Knox gelatin. And you're going to find that this is the thickness I'm getting with the xanthan gum, but I want it a little thicker. So I've taken one pouch of the Knox gelatin. Oh, it's so hard to do this with one hand here, sorry, because my pot's rolling around. And then I am going to, I had a 1/4 cup of water, and I dissolved the gelatin in the water. Sorry, you can't even see that. I apologize. Just my pot's going in circles here. I needed that extra hand. I should have had my husband home so he could hold the handle for me. So now I've got my gelatin in there because I want it to settle. I want it to thicken up enough that it's still creamy and it's not totally like my lemon meringue pie. It's more jellyish. I don't want it to be like that. I still want it to be smooth. So I've just added that amount in there. So when we pour it into the pie and refrigerate it, and I refrigerate it for quite a few hours because I want it to be totally thick. There we go. And you'll find you're going to do a lot of whisking, and it's worth it. It really, really is. So I have this on medium heat. I'm going to remove it from the heat now since I feel I've got it totally mixed well. If I stop, it'll start bubbling a little bit, and I just want it to bubble just a tiny bit. Okay, we're going to shut off the burner and we're going to pour it into our pie crust and refrigerate it. So now I'm going to pour the filling in to the pie. If you have a larger pie plate, you'll have less chocolate. If you use a smaller one, you will probably have to put some of the chocolate into the bowl and just have it as a pudding. I'm telling you, it's delicious. Vicki, you're going to enjoy this and your family for sure. So now I've got it in my pie filling. We're going to put it into the fridge, and I'll let it sit there for a few hours, as in sometimes I'll do it overnight or just maybe 6 hours or whatever. I want it to really set nicely. So I'll be back with you when I get to put some nice whipped cream on it and try it out. I think I'm using a D2 bit to make this little design. So, there's my beautiful chocolate pie. Now, so this is my granddaughter Charlie. She's grown so much, I think, since the last time I had her on one of my videos. But she's pretty excited to try my pie. It turned out lovely, absolutely lovely. I just wanted to show you. I cut the piece out, and I think Charlie, she hasn't had any yet, so we're going to let her have her first bite. Is it good? Is it really good? Tell them. There's people in there. Tell them that it's really good.
Is it delicious?
Yeah, Grandma's going to have some too. It's lovely. So Vicki, you requested this pie, and we've done it for you, and it's really, really good. It needed that little bit of extra gelatin to make it sturdy, but nummies, delicious. And I wanted to mention that to get my recipes, you could always go to my lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com, and if you click up on the right hand corner, you're going to see get mail or something like that. If you put your email address in there, then you will receive every recipe that I put on my YouTube channel. That way you have a list of them yourself, and you can print them off. So anyway, you go to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com and you try this nice low carb chocolate pie. You want some more? Do you? Okay, just a minute. Go to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com, try this recipe, and try some of my others. You take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.